This video was made possible by EA Game Changers.
Hello there everybody, it is me XfreezerBunny, long time no see, and welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. So you guys haven't heard from me in a good couple of months. That's mainly because I have been focusing all of my time and energy on my new office job. More on that in a second, but today I am very excited to show off the builds I did for the quote-unquote brand new Sims 4 Horse Ranch expansion pack. And I did say quote-unquote brand new because this pack has been out for almost a month now as of the time of recording this. But yeah, unfortunately, due to my very busy schedule, I wasn't able to finish this build within the time frame of the early access period, but I still wanted to get it out for you guys to share my thoughts and to show off what I came up with. So this is Avonlea Ranch. As you can see, it is heavily inspired by Anne of the Green Gables. Anne with an E is one of my favorite period dramas, just so you know. And this is not necessarily a house I would see in like Prince Edward Island, which is the main setting for, the main setting that inspired Anne of the Green Gables. But I do see this as more of a California home built by a family that is really into Anne of the Green Gables. So I imagine the original owner of this house probably read it at some point during their childhood and basically named their country house after it, because I do see this as more of a country house. This is a 3-bedroom family home, a small family home, but you know, very spacious home for a family of horse lovers, I guess. And this is also, before I forget, a limited pack only build. So for this build, you're only required to have Horse Ranch and base game. That's pretty much it. You'll be able to download this and it should look exactly the way it does in the video. So yeah, go ahead and check out the gallery. I will also be posting the tray files on Patreon as well, so please keep an eye out for that as well to all of my patrons. And yeah, this is a single story home, which is quite unusual for me. I tend to do multiple stories, but I feel like for this particular build, this theme of a quote-unquote ranch really fit in really well with kind of like this area, I guess, of the world. I forgot the name of the world, I'm sorry. But yeah, I just really wanted to come up with a style that fit with this world, and I haven't really done much exploring yet because honestly I haven't really done that much gameplay outside of builds by, and also outside of playtesting all of the builds that I've done. And yes, that's builds with a plural because you might be seeing more than one build from me this time, so that's pretty interesting. But yeah, this build does deceptively look simple, but it does actually have a very complicated roofing. As you can see, I am using the age-old technique of using platforms to raise the different roof pieces on different levels, and it is such a pain. As you can see, I'm really struggling getting everything to look the way I want it to. It took a lot of time adjusting the roof just to get it to look right, but you guys can see the struggle, and I'm really happy with how it came out. Actually, really love the different levels of roofing because I feel like that really adds a whole nother dimension, especially for this house, which might look a little bit flat without, you know, the different level roofs. Actually, I know it's a little bit late for this, but I do want to share some of my thoughts on Horse Ranch. And to be completely honest with you guys, when I first found out about it, I wasn't super excited. I was like, oh, we're getting horses now. I was one of those people who were definitely calling out for horses when they released Cottage Living. I never thought we would ever get horses because I didn't think they were possible to implement in game, But I gotta say, based off of what I've seen so far, I think the team did a really good job at implementing horses. I think the animations are buttery smooth. I love the horse personalities, and I'm really excited to get into kind of like the whole career aspect of the horse and like the whole competitive racing aspect. Haven't really done that much exploring, to be quite honest, but I did do quite a bit of gameplay, mostly related to caring for animals, because that's kind of like the type of gameplay I like anyway. And I am absolutely in love with the mini sheep and mini goats. They are so cute. They're basically the chickens of this expansion pack. What chickens are to cottage living are what mini sheeps and goats are to this pack, if you guys get what I mean. They're kind of like free roaming animals, really cute small animals. And actually, now that I brought up cottage living, I honestly have to say that I feel like I liked the build buy mode in this pack more than I did with cottage living. I know that sounds blasphemous for some people, because I know cottage living is some people's favorites. It's definitely at the top of my list, but I just had such a problem with the textures in particular for cottage living. I thought the textures just looked really flat, and a lot of the textures in that pack also did not match, which was really disappointing for me as somebody who wants all of my wood textures to match. And I'm really happy that they rectified that with this pack, because look at the matching wood textures. I am absolutely in love. And not only that, we can see the individual wood grain texture, which is so satisfying to me. Reminds me of some of the quote-unquote premium textures we've seen in Eco Lifestyle, and also with Snowy Escape as well, which in my opinion had the best wood textures. I think this pack now overshadows those as the pack that has the best wood textures, and I just absolutely love the build buy mode items that came with this pack. I could not congratulate EA enough for doing such a good job. Definitely one of their best work so far in my opinion. And for the house itself, as you can see to the left, there is a stables, which we'll decorate a little bit later on once we've done the interior for the house. And for the house itself, I just kept the layout pretty open plan, very modern, maybe a little bit of mid-century modern nods, but I did try to keep it kind of like to the theme of, you know, this country vibes, if you guys get what I mean. Country California vibes, I guess I should say. Also on the inside, there is a little bit of split leveling as well, as you can see, and this is a little detail that I always make sure to include whenever I do split leveling. I try to match the color of the foundation to the color of the wallpaper. That's just a small thing that really bothers me if not done properly in a build, and I try to do that in all of my builds. So you guys probably notice me taking time and making sure that all of those foundation matched the wallpaper. So yeah, really happy with how the interior came together. Actually really happy with how the build came together, considering how limited I was with the amount of items that I can use. Keep in mind, I only used Horse Ranch and base game for this, and oh boy, was it a challenge, especially me. I mean, I have most of the packs. I don't have all of them now, especially like the kits, because I don't think I have every single one. I think I stopped keeping track of kits like a very long time ago, but I definitely don't have all of the kits, and I think I have all of the packs actually, now that I think about it. So for me, I often just reach out for the, you know, for the nearest item that I can find in the catalog and call it a day. So building with limited packs is often a struggle for me, but I'm really happy with how it came together. This is also a vanilla build, by the way, as you can see me raising some of the items off the ground using the 9 key on my keyboard. Basically, I didn't have mods installed for this because it wasn't compatible with the game at this point, but yeah, I also wanted to kind of like see what I can come up with kind of like this vanilla game approach to building, which basically doesn't involve any mods pretty much. So yeah, You might see some objects floating because I have less control on how high I can raise the objects, but other than that, I'm really happy with how I'm still able to, you know, add a little bit of clutter and personality to this build. Love the kitchen that came with this pack, by the way. Once again, miles better than the kitchen that came with cottage living. I mean, the design of the kitchens are nice. I just do not understand the swatches, to be quite honest. And also the fact that the swatches look really flat. I think that's the biggest issue for me. Like, maybe the swatches would work if they had a little bit more texture in them, but they just don't. They just look really flat. The biggest culprit for cottage living, in my opinion, is actually the wallpapers. Like, I do not understand the wallpapers. I never used the wallpapers that came with cottage living. Like, I like the stone wall textures, but I do want to say I love the wallpapers that came with this pack. Like, every single one looks amazing. I especially love the horizontal wood wallpaper. You're going to be seeing a lot of that in my future builds. Like, hands down, I would get this pack probably just for the wallpapers, because I can see so many uses for those. They can work in traditional builds, they can work in modern builds. Really love the texturing that they did for those. And for the kitchen, it's mostly like woods and whites, but I did add a splash of color with that rug that came with the pack as well. And for the dining room, it's a little bit more of a formal dining room actually. And I do actually love the chairs that came with this pack. I really love the all wooden chair. And actually, now that I'm placing this buffet table right here, does anyone have this problem where this particular lampshade just snaps to the wall? That's really weird. It's been doing that for me and I do not know what is causing it. I mean, every other lampshade seems to work just fine. It's just that one that I really want to use because it's kind of like this more modern, contemporary looking one, which was perfect for this build, but I wasn't able to use it because it kept snapping to the wall. Like, I want a lampshade and not a wall sconce, okay? So just please let me live. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just adding in a bunch of clutter over here. Does take quite a lot of time. Cluttering up a build and scrolling through the catalog as well takes ages, but I feel like it does add on to the build. Actually, I forgot to mention, this is something that I should probably have mentioned way sooner, but this is the first build on the channel that officially has ceilings, you guys, because we finally have ceilings. As an advocate for ceilings for the longest time, ceiling gang knows, I'm so happy and I feel like my work here is done because EA has finally heard our prayers and we finally got ceilings. They are kind of glitchy for me though, because I tried to put ceilings on the porches outside but the game wouldn't let me do that. And I also kind of like the aesthetic of the white ceiling. Actually, it gives off the more contemporary vibes for this place, so not every room is gonna have a wooden ceiling, just so you know. But definitely the kitchen and the master bedroom are gonna have ceilings. And speaking of the master bedroom, here we are now working on the master bedroom for the house, which is also the biggest bedroom, not surprising. And I did use a different color palette for this build, specifically for the wood, because this is starting to become a big problem for me. I just really hate when we can't choose different bedding to go with a different bed frame. Like, that should have been such a no-brainer aspect that they could have done with the game, and they just still haven't done that yet, which is really frustrating. I would have liked to have used darker woods for this room, to be quite honest, but I wanted the blue bedding, so I ended up going for this very orange looking wood, and I feel like I used like 3 tones of wood or maybe even more for this room, which is not really in character for me because I like everything to match, but I guess that's the vibe that we're going for this room, and I think it somehow worked. Yeah, I did struggle a little bit with the layout for this room, so you guys saw me kind of like change stuff. Like, the bed was already there and the headboards, bedside tables or whatever. I used counters for those, by the way, and yeah, I put windows on the other side of the room as well. So this room also ended up having a walk-in closet, which is quite nice. I noticed that they like doing this, actually. EA likes doing this. I've noticed they did this in a lot of the recent packs. I feel like we have way too many walk-in closets, to be honest. I do not know what they were thinking when they decided, you know what, that's something that we haven't seen before yet. Let's do it. I'm like, okay, we've seen that like 3 times already. Like, I don't think we need another walk-in closet. Maybe that's just me, but I did implement that in this build as well because, you know, this build is more of a showcase of the objects that came with the pack. So I wanted to use as much content that came with the pack as I can. And that includes a lot of the bathroom items as well. So as you can see, most of the bathroom is furnished with items from the pack. I do love the new shower and new bathtub that came with the pack. The textures are so stunning, just like absolutely stunning. And I'm just so obsessed with this horizontal wallpaper as well. But the bathroom itself, it's pretty simple. This house does have 2 bathrooms. You guys can see the other one over there, which was already furnished off camera because I'm trying to save time. But this is the master bathroom. As you can see, they have a very luxurious corner bathtub. And of course, moving on to the kids' bedroom. So I did say early on that this is more of a vacation home / weekend home, and I do see this as a kid who doesn't really stay here like as kind of like their permanent home. Like maybe they stay here for like the weekend or like for summer holidays or whatever. But I did have to make a kids room because I did love the single beds that came with this pack. We got 2 of them actually, and both of them look really nice. Love this green one. I love the green swatch. As you guys know, green is my favorite color, and really love using it in this bedroom in particular. So there's a lot of browns, earth tones, and green colors as well, and also a lot of clutter. Lots of toys and knickknacks. A lot of stuff has been patched in game, by the way, because I kid you guys not, it's been like months since I've opened the game. Like, not gonna lie, it's been ages. I think I went for like maybe 2 or 3 months without opening my desktop because I was just so busy with my office job. So yeah, anyway, moving on to the stables, which is another kind of like major home edition that is introduced with this pack. We do get to build our own custom stables now, which is something that makes me really happy considering the barn animals that we got with cottage living were kind of stuck to their very ugly looking barns. I said it, actually they're not ugly, okay, they're cute, but if you want a more contemporary looking setup, I don't think those barns necessarily work. It would have been nice if we got maybe like a refresh for cottage living and freed those barn animals or something like they did with the horses, but I highly doubt it because I feel like that would be a very major thing to accomplish technically. I guess, I don't know, I'm not a game developer, so yeah. Anyway, this is a little outdoor area where you feed the horse. So there is, or the horses, because we have 2 stables in here. I actually don't know how many horses can sleep in one stable. I'm guessing maybe 1 adult horse and a baby horse or a foal. Just assuming that, by the way, because I haven't actually had a baby horse yet in this game. But yeah, there is a water trough and some hay feeders over there as well. But moving on to the backyard, I actually really love this area. I did actually do a little bit of the landscaping off camera, but you guys will see a little bit of more landscaping in just a sec. But yeah, here we have a little fire pit, very cozy, very modern looking, and probably the only one weird aspect in this backyard is kind of like this horse training area. I don't actually know what it's called, but yeah, I did have space for it, and basically the horse just goes around it with your sim riding it. But yeah, this is just a little bit of footage of me doing some landscaping just to show you guys how the rest of the landscaping was done for this build, because like I said, I really didn't have time to film everything. Actually, I filmed everything, I just wanted to make this video as concise as I can, so I edited out a lot of the unnecessary bits, and a lot of those just ended up being the landscaping. So yeah, also I got to use the new barbecue that came with this pack, which is really nice looking. So keep an eye out for that. But I do want to give you guys a little bit of a life update before I go. So yeah, earlier this year I started a full-time job as part of a design team of architects. And to be quite honest, it's taken up so much of my time. I decided to devote a lot of my time and energy for this job because I really want this position, and I will be evaluated after 6 months, and that's when the company will decide if they want to hire me or not. So keeping my fingers crossed because the time is ticking and we're almost there at the finish line. So we're really hoping for the best for that. And yeah, hopefully you guys will hear more from me soon. I have another build I did, but it's probably not gonna be your typical speed build, just saying. But yeah, please keep an eye out for that as well. But yeah, other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this build. I do post occasional updates on Twitter as well, so if you're not following me, you can follow me on there as well. But yeah, I think that is pretty much it for this build. Thank you guys so much for watching. You all have an awesome day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.